Hello everybody. So today I want to continue my series of videos on CleanSpark by talking about the good news and I think the great price that CleanSpark just got on 7 more mines, as I call them, 7 more mining sites in Tennessee. And we like that it's in Tennessee because Tennessee is a very pro-Bitcoin state, and so you don't have to worry as much about the federal level policies come the election when a miner has its operations in states that are pro-Bitcoin, and that's definitely the case with CleanSpark, right? They operate in Alabama, they operate in Tennessee, they operate in Wyoming. These states are all very pro-Bitcoin. I want to call your attention especially on this acquisition. Of course, it includes buildings, it includes land, but it also includes a price next to an amount that they decided to write as a per megawatt. So hold that thought for a second. They are telling us the value of 1 megawatt of power, and they're not telling us the price of the facilities on a per square foot basis, which tells me that they're really trying to optimize for a price per megawatt. And that number, 324,000 per megawatt accessible, is a very useful number. You'll see in a second. So this is a great news. I love they're expanding. They're spending only 27 million. They have that easy on the balance sheet. Let me walk us through again the sum of the parts analysis of this company. So CleanSpark market cap as of this evening is $2.4 billion. The stock is still trading just above $9. It's dirt cheap compared to when I was covering it months ago. I think this is a stock that can shoot up, well into the high 20s, low 30s as soon as Bitcoin gets back to the 74K level that we had at the peak of this cycle so far, which is nowhere near finished, this Bitcoin cycle. Anyways, what do they have? $12 million in debt. That works against them. They had $127 million in cash. I'm just gonna make kind of this quote-unquote dumb assumption. I'm removing $27 million from it. Of course, cash has changed for them. It changes all the time. That's just the last numbers we have. So I'm gonna assume they have $99 million left of cash on the balance sheet. Bitcoin, the last time they published it, they had 7,558 Bitcoin. They're probably slowly getting closer to 8,000 now, but let's use the old number. At the price of today for Bitcoin, that's 440 million. And then the rig value. What is the price of their rigs? And that's a controversial issue. And in my prior video on the topic, I had estimated that the cost of a rig is $27 per terahash, and you may think it's high, you may think it's low, you may disagree, but just know that the value of the rigs is very dependent on the value of the Bitcoin. If Bitcoin triples, the mining rigs, where you can mine Bitcoin with them, that value goes up, maybe with a correlation of 0.7 or 0.8. They're heavily correlated, not 1-to-1, but 1 to 0.8, definitely it's a high correlation. So the price per terahash, if Bitcoin goes through the roof, is not going to be 27. It's going to be 60ish, maybe more. And of course, a million exahash, which is what all of these mining companies communicate on. That 1 exahash, that's a million terahash. So we can calculate the value of their different operations. So after the 7 mining sites that they've purchased are, officialized, and they've moved the mining equipment that they have already ordered from Bitmain that is coming in and getting shipped from Bitmain, after that is all said and done, and I'm going to be very optimistic and assume they can set up the miners in 7 days, which is probably going to be mid-October and not September's end. But just for the sake of this video, let's assume it's September's end. So if we assume that, right, they would have 28 terahash, which is what they've guided in the letter. So 28 terahash, right? 23 plus 5, that's 28 after the expansion. Now it's 28. So they have room and power to turn those on. And that would be exactly 756 million of rigs, USD, 756 million US dollars for all of the mining rigs by September's end. Now, if we use their prediction of 37 exahash by the end of 2024, December 2024, then the value, reusing that $27 per terahash number, the value would be $1.03 billion worth of mining rigs by December's end. And then the real estate. What is the value of the real estate? Well, in a prior video that I made on CleanSpark, I estimated $60 a square foot. They had communicated that they had 4.8 million square foot of industrial space. What does that mean? Well, that's 288 million USD for the real estate, and we just know they bought more sites, 7 of them, for 27 million. So right now, they have about 315 million of real estate. This is back of the napkin math, right? This is a quick video that I make after the announcement. So if I add all of the parts, right? So we start in the negative, we start in the red, minus 12 million in debt. We add back the cash, we add back the Bitcoin, we add back the $1 billion worth of equipment, we add back 350 million worth of real estate. We get a value today, a sellable in the open market value, liquidation value of $1.87 billion, and the market cap is 2.34 is the market cap. So what are we paying for the earnings potential of a company? What are we paying for the organization of these assets? What are we paying for the astute management? We're paying $462 million, essentially for the astute management and for the earning potential of this company. And in my last video on the topic, I estimate that if you remove the BTC mine and you remove the cost of electricity from that, their rough economic profit is about 200 million per year. So yeah, that would be a 2. That would be a price ratio of 2 right there. But that's not it. This is, to me, the exciting part, is they have just told us that they paid, or they value, a megawatt hour of access at 324 megawatt, because that's what they just paid. So going back to my prior video on CleanSpark, I had calculated that they had roughly, almost 600 megawatt is the power they had access to power all of the miners that they had. It's probably a little more than that now. But anyways, I've always said it's tough to value the real estate. Do you value the real estate for just the square footage without the access to electricity, or for just the access to electricity? Granted, the last video we didn't have that information. Or do you use both? Well, I'm going to use both, because the access of electricity is very valuable in and out of itself, and the sites, you still have the replacement cost of the site, right? Even if you had access to electricity, you would still need to build the industrial real estate. So these two numbers, for me, they add up. And what do we get? We know that CleanSpark has access to 684 megawatt of electricity. If we value each megawatt access of electricity at $324,000, that's $222 million worth of megawatt access. And keep in mind, if they grow to the level they expected to grow towards year end, they will have access to a gigawatt. It's nuts. It's crazy. This company has the access to so much power is very valuable in the age of AI. And if we take my former valuation, some of the parts, what's not accounted for was the 462 million, and now we remove the value of the power access, which we calculated at 222 million. Now we only are left with $240 million of value unaccounted for CleanSpark. In other words, the price you pay for the astute management, for the earnings power, right, the 200 million USD roughly of mining profits at the current today's low price of Bitcoin, you pay 240 million for that. So it's almost a ratio of 1. And think about the leverage you get. These companies are major leverage play. You get a leverage play on the Bitcoin, and you get the leverage play on the mining equipment, right? If Bitcoin triple, that's not $1 billion of mining equipment that they have anymore. That's 2.3 billion of mining equipment that they got if Bitcoin triples. And now you have a play on the value of the access to the electricity. Is it gonna remain at this price to access a megawatt? Is essentially like a proverbial meter, or think about it this way, is a megawatt meter the cost of that meter, is it only 324,000 in the age of AI, or is that going to go up? That's a lot of power, right? A megawatt, as I had calculated in a prior video, that was 5,000 to 6,000 rigs. That's a lot of power for that mining equipment on a per megawatt basis. So I am ever more compelled by this company. It's becoming a big bet for me. Of course, I included it in my Bitcoin basket. This is my chief investment in Bitcoin mining, right? It's a position that's not as big as Bitcoin itself, and as MicroStrategy for me, but it's getting up there. And CleanSpark is my favorite one, my favorite Bitcoin miner. If there's anything you wonder about this video, I recommend any of these free videos that I've made on miners, where I walk through different calculations and how I come up with my estimates. This is great news, and I am very excited about this. So, this was not investment advice. This is just entertainment. Hoping you were entertained. No financial advice. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.